YouTube, what's up, man? This is your guy, Manny. And I wanted to come at you guys with another episode of my Camp Battle series. And today is going to be Taylor Heinicke versus Kyle Allen. I'm going to give you a backstory and I'm going to give you what I think, my opinion on how this whole thing shakes out. Because one of these guys is going to be the QB2. And also, one of these guys is probably going to take a job for next year because I don't see both guys returning next year. Just all depends on what we do at quarterback, especially if we're going to bring in somebody young. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to talk Kyle Allen and Taylor Heinicke. Now, Taylor Heinicke's coming from Old Dominion. I'm saying small school. And Taylor Heinicke had a pretty good year at Old Dominion, compared to Kyle Allen's college production. So when you look at Taylor Heinicke, first year at Old Dominion, he had 2,300 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Next year, he had 5,000 yards, 44 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. Look, I don't care where you're playing. I don't care if you're playing at the smallest school. 5,000 yards passing and 44 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. What this tells me is that Heineke is a guy who takes care of the ball. His third season, 4,000 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. So his touchdown to interception ratio is not bad at all for somebody who airs the ball out as much as he has. In his last season in 2014, he had 3,400 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions. And he's also been a decent guy that can run the ball. So he has great mobility, and we all saw that last year versus Tampa Bay. We've seen it in spurts in the limited time that he has played. But the problem for Taylor Heinicke is that he's not a big guy. He's barely 6 feet tall, and then he weighs 210 pounds. And that's just what the system is saying right now. But we don't even know how much he weighs. So let me see. Okay, so over here they're saying 213 pounds on playerprofiler.com. So, I mean, it just goes to show you that sometimes, man, these players, even though you can run and you've done some pretty good things in college, when you transition to the NFL, it's a whole nother ball game. You know what I'm saying? So he's never really stayed healthy. So his career history goes like this. Minnesota, he signed as an undrafted free agent, and he was there from 2015 to 2017. And I guarantee you that it was more so as a practice squad kind of guy. Then in 2017, he was on New England, probably a camp invite. 2017, again, the Houston Texans, Carolina in 2018. That didn't last long. Then he even played for the St. Louis Battlehawks in 2020. You know what I'm saying? And he was working on his, degree when the Washington football team called him as an emergency kind of guy. And he's come in and just played pretty well in the limited amount of time that he's had. So got his contract. He's now a backup. He can end up as a number 2 or the number 3 quarterback. Now, let me give you a backstory of Kyle Allen and who Kyle Allen is. Kyle Allen, he's another one of these undrafted guys. So what does Ron Rivera like to do? History tells us that, first of all, Ron Rivera loves mobile quarterbacks. Number 2, Ron Rivera loves undrafted guys. He loves cheap guys. So Kyle Allen is another one of those undrafted guys. And Steven Montez, who's another guy who's just kind of stayed in that pipeline. Steven Montez can possibly end up as a QB3 next year if the football team decides to move on from Allen or Heineke. But I believe that both guys are backups. That's their ceiling. I don't see them as any more than a backup. So the backstory on Kyle Allen, he played for 2 colleges. Or 2 universities. He played at Texas A&M in 2014 and 2015 before he transferred to the Houston Cougars. So we see that in his first year, he had 1,300 yards, 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Then his second season, 2,200 yards, 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So you see that the interception to touchdown ratio isn't really as great as Heineke, even though Texas A&M is not no Old Dominion. So I get all that. But I'm just kind of just looking at history and what has translated in the NFL. Then 2016, when he transferred to Houston, he was redshirt. Then 2017, which was his last season, he only threw for 751 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So you look at that, he's one of those guys that throws, if he throws 10 touchdowns, he's going to throw 10 interceptions. And that's also translated into the NFL. I'm going to get to that in a minute. So when you look at Kyle Allen, comparing him to a Taylor Heinicke, Kyle Allen is younger. He's 25 years old. Taylor Heinicke is 28 years old. Okay. At least Kyle Allen has had a little bit more success in the NFL compared to a Taylor Heinicke. Okay. I'm going to go through both guys' NFL stats in a minute, and it's not going to be anything pretty to watch. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at these undrafted guys, um, the the Washington football team traded a 5th-round pick to get a Kyle Allen. So for them to trade for this guy, that means he's part of the plans. You know what I'm saying? Taylor Heinicke's the guy that just bounced around and bounced around and bounced around. But what Taylor Heinicke's doing now is he's putting on muscle. He's trying to get stronger. He's trying to get more physical. So I can't really give you guys any draft process or anything like that because both guys went undrafted. Both guys really Kyle Allen really didn't even do anything in college. But for him to fight like how he has fought to get a role in the NFL and to be where he is now, you got to give him credit because when you're coming in with those stats that you see from Houston, like really, what does he really have to offer? Really doesn't have much to offer, but what he's been able to do is he's been able to maximize his opportunity. So you got to give Kyle Allen that. He's a fighter. He's a fighter. So I'm going to break down what they both have done in college. And I'm going to tell you right now, I mean, in the NFL, it's not much. It's not much. It's nothing special. It's absolutely nothing special. So let's take a look at Kyle Allen first. So Kyle Allen, his rookie season, 2018, as an undrafted guy, for him to make the team, that's pretty good. He only played 2 games. And in those 2 games, he had 266 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. I'm not going to go in and dig to see, was this a meaningful game? Did somebody get hurt? What was the reason why he got into the games? I really don't care, but I'm just kind of giving you the facts, giving you the numbers. Now, in 2019, we all remember this season. I actually had Kyle Allen in a deep, super deep fantasy football league. I mean, where you play 2 quarterbacks, and I had Cam Newton and he got hurt. So I picked up this Kyle Allen guy because he was the backup. That year, he played 13 games and started in 12. Okay. Here's what he did: 3,300 yards passing. That's not bad. Now, what is bad is 17 touchdowns to 16 interceptions. That's what's bad. I know when he started out, he played really, really well. They were winning games, and people were even saying, wow, Kyle Allen might even be the future in Carolina. Carolina might have found their quarterback. Oh, Carolina's going to move away from Cam Newton. But we all saw that story ended pretty quickly when they started losing and losing and losing. He did run the ball 32 times for 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he was sacked 46 times. Does that mean that the offensive line is bad? Does that mean that he holds the ball too much? I didn't really watch too much Carolina tapes or anything like that. I'm just kind of giving you the numbers, and you guys let me know in the comment section what kind of quarterback, gets sacked 46 times. I mean, that's a lot of sacks. So maybe, and then he fumbled a lot too. He fumbled 13 times and lost 7 of them. So you do the math. That's a lot of turnovers. He's fumbled the ball 7 times, lost 7 fumbles, and then turned over the ball 16 times. That's not really a recipe for an NFL quarterback. Now, in the short sample size with the Washington football team last year, he played 4 games. In those games, he looked okay. He looked the best that he's ever looked in his career. 610 yards passing. He had 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. And look, in those games that he played, he didn't look bad. He looked a lot better than Alex Smith and Dwayne Haskins. So all that being said, there is something for Kyle Allen. There is a role for Kyle Allen. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you guys who I think is going to win the QB2 job. Now, as we transition back to Taylor Heinicke, like I said, his sample size is so small that the stats really don't even pull up in NFL stats. So, but what I can tell you is that he's played like 5 good quarters of football. He played a very good game versus Tampa Bay. So you got to give him credit for what he's done. But I'm not going to really dig into his stats because he doesn't even have much stats. You know what I'm saying? He's only played like 1.5 games in the NFL. And one thing I can say about Taylor Heinicke is, from what we've seen, he doesn't turn over the ball too much. He's smart. He has grit. He has fire. He plays with a passion. He plays with an edge. And this season, with him in the offseason gaining some weight, gaining some muscle, that durability, he's been taking a lot of QB2 snaps in practice and mini camps and OTAs and things of that nature. Kyle Allen is coming off of an injury that took him out the rest of the season. Kyle Allen was destined to finish the job as the Washington football team's quarterback. I mean, for them to trade a fifth round pick to get a Kyle Allen, what that tells me is that they love Kyle Allen. But in my opinion, even though Taylor Heineke had a great season, had a pretty good season, I think that Kyle Allen wins the job. Obviously, he has to get healthy. Once he gets healthy, I think he is the QB2. If the team had to choose on who has the most upside between the two, I think that Taylor Heineke has the most upside out of these two guys. Out of Kyle Allen, from what I've seen so far in his career, he's just been like a regular guy. He's just super regular. Okay, at least with Taylor Heineke, in the little bit of time that we've seen him play, he's had more explosive plays. He has that moxie. He has that swag, that's going to take him far in this league as being a solid backup. Taylor Heineke is somebody that I feel comfortable with if Fitzpatrick doesn't work out or if somebody gets hurt or whatever. Taylor Heineke can come in and give us some excitement. Now, obviously, we don't know what we have in Taylor Heineke. We've only seen him for 5 quarters. Kyle Allen, I've seen this guy in the NFL, and I've seen him in those small sample size. So as of right now, I think that right now is Taylor Heineke as the QB2 because of injury to Kyle Allen. But I think when it's all said and done, I think that Kyle Allen wins that job as the QB2. And if Fitzpatrick starts to stink it up, you can see a quarterback change to where Kyle Allen takes over. I know the fans are cheering for Taylor Heineke. I love Taylor Heineke. I think he's an exciting quarterback. He's giving me as much excitement in the playoffs as maybe a RG3. We haven't seen a lot of playoffs over the years. So just speaking off of recent memory, Taylor Heineke, but I think that Kyle Allen wins the job as the QB2. So guys, in the comment section, let me guys know who you guys think wins the job as a QB2 and why. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys are new to the channel, please like, please subscribe, and please share. I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.